Chef Alex Ragu has over 100 grams of protein, is amazing for meal prep, and is the best tasting sauce that you can possibly add on your pasta. Another great thing about it, it's super easy to make. Check out how simple it is right now. All we need is some extra virgin olive oil, salt, cutting board, knife, spatula, trusted paper towels, onions, garlic, ground beef, pound of it, as well as our favorite noodles. I like rigatoni and Rao's sauce, or our favorite organic sauce, ideally made with olive oil and no soybean oil. Dicing it up. Step one, we want to start boiling the water because that's going to take a little bit of time. And we want to get that water hot while we do everything else. We'll add some salt to it, maybe a teaspoon or two. And then while we do that, we're going to cut open our beef. And we're just going to lay it on the paper towel. Let it sit there for a little bit. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of salt to the beef. While we let our salted beef sit to the side, we want to turn the flame on high. Add a generous portion of olive oil, and then we're going to start dicing our onion. Cut the end off. Cut both ends off for that matter. And then we're going to slice, 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 slice. Do one more slice? No, we're not gonna risk it. We're gonna start removing the skin. Getting emotional cutting these onions. You're gonna see my eyes watering. Oh, oh. How sad it is that I'm gonna be the one eating Chef Alex Ragu and you guys just have to watch until you can make it yourself. So that's why you gotta stay tuned till the end. Like and subscribe if you love it. So now, eyes still watering. Oh, this is an aggressive onion. Check out these eyeballs. Wow, a lot of flavor. Okay. Now we're going to start slicing. Now this olive oil is nice and hot. We want to give this a nice little stir. We're going to want to stir this intermittently every minute or so. And as that cooks, we're going to chop our garlic, 6 cloves to pair with our single onion. Got these onions getting nice and brown. Put a little bit more olive oil in there, because we need that for the garlic that we're going to cut up right now. Now that the water's nice and steamy, we want to put our rigatoni in. Leave the pan partially covering it so the bubbles don't flip out. And we're going to keep stirring over here. While we stir, When we get done stirring, we're going to finally want to mix the ground beef with the salt, but still let it sit on the side. Once our onions are nice and brown, we're going to want to add a little bit more olive oil to the mix. We're going to want to take our diced garlic, throw it on the pan. It's not going to sit on the pan too long, otherwise that garlic's going to burn real quick. So we just want to give that garlic a little fry, maybe 20 seconds. As that's frying up, we can now add the ground beef to the pan. Throw it on like that. Let one side sear. After our ground beef has been down for maybe 3 minutes, we're going to want to flip it. Now the reason why we start with the ground beef not broken up is because after you break up the ground beef, it's incredibly difficult to get the sear because the liquid from the ground beef starts spreading around the pan, and we know that liquid is the enemy of a good sear. That's why we got one side seared before we flip it and cook the other side. Just let it cook like this for a little bit before we start dicing it up. Now after a couple minutes on the second side, we can start cutting up the ground beef with the spatula. I happen to like leaving this ground beef a little bit mildly on the pink side. You're going to want to make sure that you have a very cleanly fed cow if you're going to trust that that's safe. But these are grass-fed, got them on the internet. Trust my rancher. So we're going to let this cook, and then we're going to start mixing everything together. Now we're going to turn the flame low. We're going to get we're going to get the juice on one side, put the good stuff on the other. We take our Rouse tomato sauce. We're going to pour about 1/3 of a can to 1/2 of a can to perhaps even as much as 2/3 of a can in there. And we're going to just let it sit. Add a little bit of salt. Just going to let that sit on low heat for a couple minutes. After about 12 to 15 minutes, our pasta is nice and al dente. We're going to want to go pour that out, let it strain, turn that off. Now we can finally, as the low simmer allows us to keep everything warm, we can finally stir it up. Look at how awesome that looks. Can you smell it from the camera? Hope you can smell it from the camera. Then we're going to let this crank up to high heat. We're going to want to add just a little bit of this pasta. More, if you want more carbs. I'm a lower carb kind of guy. So that's probably 2 servings of pasta, which is going to be about 180 grams of carbs right there. That is totally good to go with about 90 to 100 grams of protein in the ragu. So that is, for those keeping score at home, maybe 180 grams of carbs, 120 grams of protein. Not bad, not bad. As we hear this bubbling, that's a sound of victory. It means we know we're doing a good job. Just stir it. We're going to let these al dente rigatoni cook in the tomato sauce. It's a wonderful thing. Then we're going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Let that bake in. Turn it to a simmer so it doesn't boil too quickly. Let your rigatoni cook and soak in the sauce. If you haven't had Chef Alex Ragu, you haven't lived. This is a protein-dominant Italian-American special made straight from my kitchen and the kitchen of so many fitness bros around the world. Let's see how we did. Fabulous. Sizzling hot, you could eat this with a spoon. Oh my God, this is amazing. My esophagus is burning. My eyes are still watering from cutting the onion, and this is pure bliss. Gotta check it out.